Lay police hunt for several men involved in airport raid. Prime Minister calls for investor confidence amidst political maneuverings. And EMTV ends successful coverage of the PNG Games.
This is National EMTV News with Mary Bartulo.
Hello and welcome. Thanks for joining us for Monday's news. Lay police are searching for several men allegedly responsible for a raid early this morning at Lay's Nadzab airport. Property worth thousands of kina was stolen. Air Niugini and Travel Air officers were also ransacked in the raid.
The incident happened around 2 a.m. in the morning when 30 armed men broke into the Nadzab terminal. These security guards who were on duty were held at gunpoint. They were blindfolded, their legs and arms tied together and locked in a separate room while the criminals took valuables. Three restaurants, including the baggage storerooms for Air Niugini and Travel Air, were both ransacked. Some passengers transiting through Nadzab were also robbed of the baggage and other valuables. The Travel Air office was also robbed. 4 laptops and an undisclosed amount of cash were also stolen. We were not allowed to film inside the Air Niugini office. However, eyewitnesses say the criminals were trying to remove the cash vault. The Nadzab police arrived late and couldn't do much as the suspects had all escaped from the scene. Flights in and out of Lay were delayed for a couple of hours as authorities were trying to get the place in order for operation. The provincial police commander of Morobe could not be reached at this stage, but EMTV was informed that CID police officers are investigating the incident. Sylvester Gawi, National EMTV News, Lay.
The 13th PNG Mining and Petroleum Conference began today in Sydney with the theme PNG Resources Expanding Horizons. Amidst the current political climate, Prime Minister Peter O'Neill called for investor confidence, while Chairman of the Chamber of Mines and Petroleum, Geria Aupi, said the resource industry is showing tremendous promise. EMTV's Leanne Gerari reports from Sydney.
The first day of the 3-day event saw heavyweights from the resource industry arrive in droves to fill the amphitheatre of the Hilton Hotel in Sydney. Amongst them were representatives from the government, including Prime Minister Peter O'Neill and Treasurer Patrick Cruach. Recent years have seen the downfall of global prices for major commodities like crude oil and gas, increased costs and falling productivity, and this has spurred concern in the global resource sector. Chairman for the Chamber of Mines and Petroleum, Geria Aupi, stated in his welcome speech that despite of these, PNG's resource industry still shows tremendous promise.
Nevertheless, the start of LNG exports has provided renewed confidence about future prospects, especially since exploration and development activities put in an additional shine on the prospect of kick-starting PNG's second LNG project.
Prime Minister O'Neill, while giving his keynote speech, spoke about the role of the government in ensuring investor confidence is not undermined by political issues. He urged investors and future investors to continue to maintain confidence and that the government will, in their part, provide policy consistency and certainty.
Papua New Guinea remains a sound and secure nation in which you can invest and do business. With our first LNG project, we have the runs on board and many more runs that have been scored as we meet today. We can and we must build on our success. And we cannot do it without the high level of quality foreign investment, foreign management and expertise.
In a Resource PNG interview after his keynote address, the Prime Minister spoke about projects he would like to see develop in the near future.
I think it is important to see that with the attendance, there is strong confidence in the mining and petroleum sector in Papua New Guinea. Investors have confidence in us. The project developers have confidence in our country. We must have confidence in our country. Our own people must have confidence that Papua New Guinea has a bright future. The only way we are going to achieve that is by working together. And over the next 2 or 3 years that this government has got remaining until 2017, I will work every day and night to make sure that we achieve our full potential. And that is the commitment that I give to our people. As I did in 2012, I will do so until 2017.
The consensus after the first day of the conference is that the PNG mining industry is addressing these changing conditions and that significant progress is being made to adapt to this new environment. I'm Leanne Jarari reporting for National EMTV News, Sydney.
In June 2014, Minister for Agriculture and Member for Middle Ramu, Tommy Tomskol, accompanied by Madang Governor Jim Kass, conducted the groundbreaking ceremony for the Madang-Simbai Road. In less than 6 months, what used to be a thick rainforest jungle has been cleared off and a new road linking Middle Ramu to the provincial capital of Madang has been realized. The Middle Ramu Road is an example of implementation compared to other similar roads which were heavily funded but remain incomplete.
In this part of Middle Ramu district, few people walk through thick jungles for close to 80 kilometers or 2 weeks to access services in the capital Madang, while the majority have paid hefty boat fees from Ramu River to Madang. Since the groundbreaking ceremony in June this year, work has progressed. Project contractors MK Civil Works and Construction has cleared off 87 kilometers of thick forest and widened it to create a new road link from Madang-Simbai to the mouth of Ramu River. In what seemed like an impossible task was completed in less than 6 months, completing the first phase of 5-year project. Overseeing the construction is project manager Donald Polly.
The next step now we're going to take is for us to do the drainage and basically we do the culverting and then we'll put gravel, we'll do graveling. So that should be completed by hopefully next year.
Compared to millions of kina spent on short distance roads, it cost only 7.8 million kina to cut through 87 kilometers of thick forest. Agriculture Minister Tommy Tomskol, who is the local MP, allocated 5 million kina for the next 5 years for the road project. Project costs have been reduced as MK Civil Works and Construction are used in 24 machineries owned by the district company Middle Ramu Machinery. The road link from Madang-Ayom-Simbai Road through Pasimkap to Ramu River was a missing link that has opened up after 40 years.
All basic services like administration, the schools, health centers, hospitals that is in the remote areas of Simbai and Middle Ramu.
As an economic corridor, 20,000 kina from Middle Ramu DSIP will be used to construct 3 markets along the highway. The local MP will also purchase a sawmill at the cost of 64,000 kina for the market timbers. Apart from this, the people can now transport cocoa to sell in Madang, as currently Middle Ramu district has a cocoa export license. The road will be officially opened by Prime Minister Peter O'Neill on December 12. Bridget Komatep, National EMTV News.
Last week, Papua New Guinea hosted trade ministers from member countries of the Melanesian Spearhead Group. During the ministers' meeting, Host Minister and Chair Richard Maru stressed the need to take the MSG trade agreement further with the objective of economic development and integration. Economic cooperation and integration are also the Melanesian Spearhead Group's vision for the next 25 years. Deli Bagu with tonight's special report.
The trade ministers and delegations came from Fiji, Solomon Islands, Vanuatu, FLNKS of New Caledonia, the Federated States of Micronesia, and the Papua Province of Indonesia. Minister for Trade, Commerce and Industry Richard Maru told the guests that much could be achieved if the MSG put in place agreements that promote and protect our investments, avoid double taxation, improve air and sea connectivity to better enhance movements of business people and cargoes, therefore enhancing economic growth in our countries and within the region.
Last year when I was in Fiji, we offered to host the second MSG Trade Investment Roadshow and Trade Fair with a view to bring about a revitalization and a new spark in MSG trade, because I could clearly see we were at a crossroads because the volumes were declining. We have no shipping services among ourselves. Connectivity by air is, if not, very little.
At the official opening ceremony of the Investment Roadshow and Trade Fair, Mr. Maru stressed the importance of cooperation to make trade agendas work. Prime Minister Peter O'Neill said much trade and investments meetings can be long and challenging.
To look for opportunities and create networking opportunities. We attend so that we can build trade and exchange between our countries. We attend so that we can create business and encourage our business communities to trade with each other so that our people can better enrich their lives in their communities.
Mr. O'Neill said Melanesians have to think about the opportunities that come with having a free trade agreement.
Greater economic integration and creation of a free trade area brings a lot of opportunities for our people in the region.
On Friday and Saturday, display booths were open to the public to interact with the MSG business houses and forge potential business relationships. A wider range of sectors exhibited their products and services. In the Fijian contingent was skincare company Natural Fiji and Organic at Fiji. Director Jita Reddy said the company wanted to promote their products in PNG and meet potential buyers.
You know, this is my first time with the MSG group, and I'm pleased to say that we have actually scored a distributor for Papua New Guinea market and Pacific Island countries as well. So it's going to be distributed out of Papua New Guinea. So, you know, I'm very, very happy that I'm able to, and it has actually given us an image of Papua New Guinea market as well. It's quite big.
A small delegation from the Papua province of Indonesia came on the invite of Minister Maru. Speaking to them after a week-long event, Head of Delegation Susanna Wangai said as observers at the meeting and the trade fair, they were grateful to have been part of the events and were looking forward to future trade relations with PNG and other MSG countries.
In Indonesia, we have 5 provinces, 5 Melanesian provinces. It's a very important event. As you know that Papua, we have border, one land with Papua New Guinea. So we want to open this link.
Telah memberikan ruang bagi kami.
2 days ago we had the discussion and Minister mentioned about how to involve the business sectors of 2 countries, and as the Chamber of Commerce we will play our role on this.
The delegation said an invitation will be extended to Papua New Guinea to take part in their trade fair in Jayapura in February next year. During the symposium, Secretary for Trade, Commerce and Industry, John Andreas, reminded the MSG participants to never lose sight of the goal to mold the MSG to be the region of opportunity, sustained economic growth, and better integration into the global economy. Delhi Bagu, National EMTV News.
PNG joins the rest of the world in commemorating World AIDS Day. That story and more on National EMTV News when we return. Welcome back to the news. The Ombudsman Commission of Papua New Guinea today issued a stern warning to the media not to report on matters concerning the Commission that are before the courts. The warning follows an article on page 4 of the Post Courier newspaper published today. The Ombudsman says the report by Post Courier is contemptuous and unlawful to make premature comments. The Ombudsman Commission says the report is calculated to interfere with the work of the Commission. Members of the Commission caution that if any media continue to report on matters that are before the courts, legal proceedings will be taken against them. Papua New Guinea has joined the world to say no to discrimination against people living with HIV/AIDS and instead give them hope and the care that they need. This was demonstrated in Port Moresby this morning to commemorate World AIDS Day. There was also awareness about the dangers of HIV/AIDS, the preventative measures available, and the importance of support for people living with the virus.
This morning, people from all walks of life took the message to the streets as early as 6 a.m. starting from Unagioval and marching all the way to Chekpidik Park. PNG's theme for this year is zero discrimination and access to services is my right. Director of the National AIDS Council Secretariat, Mr. Peter Barre, said the aim is to encourage all our citizens to be aware of the prevalence of HIV and AIDS, and also to avoid transmission of the virus through safe sex practices and all sorts of discrimination and help those people living with HIV and AIDS.
Today, as our team, well as a team, we call for the respect and adherence to all human rights, especially the right not to be subject to stigma and discrimination for all men and women, children and young people.
Correctional Services as a government law enforcement agency has not only been advocating and addressing the issue, but also taking care of those people living with HIV/AIDS in the prison camps throughout the country.
We do have prisoners who are locked behind the bar, and we look after them. And some of those prisoners are affected by this sickness. Helping, working together with the health department in eliminating that sickness. And not only the prisoners, but our family members and officers too.
The director of the National AIDS Council Secretariat said the disease continues to kill many people silently. He asked everyone to take care of their lives and also give hope to those living with the virus without discrimination. Jacob Niru, National EMTV News.
As PNG joins the world in commemorating World AIDS Day, it still has a long way to go in successfully addressing stigma and discrimination. Deputy Health Secretary, National Health Standards, Dr. Paison Dakulala, said people living with HIV and AIDS have equal rights to access all services. But Dr. Dakulala said stigma and discrimination still remain a concern that needs everyone's support.
HIV and AIDS remains one of PNG's most expensive diseases. Dr. Dakulala said each year the national government, through the health department, spends 15 million kina on ART drugs for the 32,000 people confirmed living with the virus.
Our government spends way over 15 million kina every year. Initially, when the Global Fund money came in, that was what they were doing, like completely. They were funding all of this. But I think almost 4 or 5 years now, our government has taken it on board to get the care and treatment part of it.
But he said no one can die immediately from AIDS because treatment is available. Besides this, the Deputy Health Secretary said many people are still unsure of their own status. Dr. Dakulala said the prevalence rate in PNG is decreasing, currently at 0.65%. But he said stigma and discrimination against people living with the virus, transgenders and homosexuals is still a concern.
No one should die from HIV/AIDS today. Treatment is available. And so the key message that needs to go out is that, look, if you have involved in high-risk behavior, like if you have sex with multiple partners, you don't use a condom, or if you are a man who have sex with men, another man, or all those vulnerable settings, those are high-risk behaviors. And important that we need to get the message across that you must get your testing, your blood tested, and so.
Currently, PNG has 500 counseling and testing sites. National AIDS Council Director Peter Bire said currently Enga Province has the highest number of people living with HIV and AIDS, followed by Western Highlands, Jiwaka and other Highlands provinces. NCD and Morobe provinces followed after. Quintan Alomp, National EMTV News.
Families of ex-servicemen at Goldie Barracks have been removed from their homes yesterday afternoon. They have been waiting for their entitlements for more than 10 years. This was not the first time for an eviction exercise. In September, several families at the Taurama Barracks were also evicted from their homes.
These are the ex-servicemen and their families who gathered this morning at Mari Barracks. They come from Goldie, Taurama and Mari Barracks. At around 6 p.m. yesterday, 4 families of the ex-soldiers were evicted at Goldie Barracks. Many of them served for over 40 years.
We've been contributing big hard work across the country. Not much respect. Time good, time good been contributing.
Their spokesperson, James Lovica, said they are happy to go home, but are still waiting for their service entitlements. He said they are not against the Defence Force and they do not want to occupy and use public property.
Yeah. We're not against the system, we're not disobeying, we just want matter to be dealt properly. And we are administered properly and we live.
He said the servicemen here were the ones who brought PNG into independence and they need to be honored and administered properly before being discharged. Mr. Lovica said the matter is still before the courts. This woman is a widow from East Sepik province, married to an ex-serviceman from Enga province.
All by me, now by me call a place, I missed up here. The man blame me, I'm die long. 2007. Me and Mr. Widow, Mr. Plokot, want them all this online blooming plastic. Plastic pico, aste, online lo Goldie, olami blo Goldie, will come, movie me plala house, na me cry.
She is now living under this tent with her 3 younger sons. The eviction notice was issued 3 weeks ago and these families said it is a short time for them to move out. Vasinata Yama, National EMTV News.
Deputy Opposition Leader Sam Basil expressed concern this afternoon when the oil search stock dropped substantially in the Australian Stock Exchange. The oil search shares fell to 7.29 Australian dollars at 4:30 p.m. this afternoon. Mr. Basil said PNG stands to lose substantially since the government's acquisition of 10.1% of shares using the controversial UBS loan. And now a look at the finance news. The Kina closed unchanged at 0.3910 US dollars in the interbank market. At Bank South Pacific, your Kina was buying 0.3835 US dollars, 0.4481 Australian dollars, 0.3047 euro and 45.06 Japanese yen. Looking at commodity prices at New York close, gold, coffee, cocoa and copra all closed lower. Crude oil and copper closed lower, palm oil closed the day unchanged. And on the stock markets, the Dow Jones closed 1 point higher, the ASX closed 124 points lower, and the All Ordinaries closed 118 points lower. Among stories after the break, EMTV's successful coverage of the PNG Games. Stay with us. Papua New Guinea-owned Strategic Communications, Stratcom, is carrying out educational awareness to Papua New Guineans on SMEs. This awareness, specifically targeting the SME sector, encourages businesses in PNG to obtain loans from financial institutions and start small businesses. Stratcom initiated this concept through a workshop held today at the Laguna Hotel in Port Moresby.
Stratcom encourages Papua New Guineans to venture into SME sector. It also provides opportunities for SMEs to do transactions with financial institutions like BSP and PML. BSP, through its Smart Business Package, assists SMEs to access its services. Convenient services include encouraging business licenses, accessing savings accounts through mobile banking and bank agents. With a complete rollout program, SME sector will access its services anywhere in the country. PML, through its Bilum account, offers great opportunity for SMEs to save money. However, it only encourages 2 withdrawals monthly for its customer convenience and imposes 1 kina interest on the principal amount. It has established services to major centers in PNG, including rural areas. Eric Aroma, National EMTV News.
A community-led SME project in Angore, Hela Province, has paid off, with the business reaping millions of kina over 2 years. The TT Angore Noa Hai Investment Limited held a dividend payment ceremony recently to reward villagers who invested in the business. The ceremony was witnessed by TT's management, representatives from ExxonMobil, Department of Trade and Commerce, disciplinary forces and communities from Tabu and Teni in Angore.
The success of the TT Anil business is an example of the implementation of the SME concept. Made up of 2 clans in the PDL-8 area of the PNG LNG project, a total of 220 villages contributed in cash and kind to start this business. Since its inception in December 2012, the business has grown from buying of asset, smallholder shares and netting a total asset value of 2 million kina.
Now I'm going to give more sell certificates long today. Now 100% dividends payment long, I'm going to give him them capital contribution long.
Mr. Buna says the business won't stop here but exceed to greater heights as the country provides better opportunities for Papua New Guineans to compete, grow the private sector and be part of PNG's economy.
So you and fire and start finish yet must it's really going to do something in life because ExxonMobil is only 30 years after that, but you make on them. I'm just like thinking must stop.
Meanwhile, police commander of the upstream LNG site, Kauga Maragil, called on the villagers to use their payments and bring the best result to benefit the children.
You Manila project, leader man inside the community. You build a good school. You build a good school now. Give medication, give sawe, los young people begin to educate them all.
A total of 270,000 kina in cash was paid out as dividend to shareholders. Jack Lapave Jr., National EMTV News.
EMTV has created history by televising live the BSP 6th PNG Games from Leh. 16 days straight with a crew of 30, including camera personnel, reporters, producers and technical staff, provided live coverage and news reports utilizing tons of equipment. EMTV's Lorraine Genia was part of the crew.
16 days of hard work and determination, 14 days, 36 minutes and 43 seconds of live broadcasting of the BSP 6th PNG Games in Leh was produced by one of the youngest television crews in Papua New Guinea. The 30-man crew consisted of 4 Port Moresby-based sports reporters, 4 Leh-based reporters, engineers, production crew and the enthusiastic camera personnel. The games were an unforgettable experience from the outside broadcast crew as we were able to comprehensively cover the majority of sports across the city of Leh. With the exception of a few, most of the crew are first-time TV personalities and it was an exciting experience in the live coverage and live crosses during the news.
We now cross over live to Leh to Lorraine Genia.
Thank you, Takana. We're coming to you live from Leh City at the Sir Ignatius Kilaga Stadium. We had 13 cameras, one 2.4-meter satellite dish used for the uplink from Leh to Port Moresby, 2,000 bottles of water to endure the humidity of Leh City, 2 tons worth of broadcast equipment and more than 5 kilometers of cabling throughout the duration of the games. Live commentary with lead commentator Stephen Duwanikura, an expert from the 1991 South Pacific Games, and co-commentators Kathleen Eremas and Jeremy Moggy added depth to the live broadcasting of the games. EMTV also unleashed a new chapter of their extensive reporting via social network platforms. Facebook and Twitter had received over 17,000 hits. While this isn't the first time for EMTV to do live broadcasts, having done parliamentary sessions, the 1991 South Pacific Games and other crosses, this is the first time for EMTV to do live broadcasting outside of Port Moresby. Now, the EMTV outdoor broadcast crew is in preparation for coverage of the 2015 Pacific Games. Lorraine Genia, National EMTV Sports.
And we continue with a wrap-up of the PNG Games that's in Trukai Sports after these messages.
Trukai Sports.
Welcome to Trukai Sports. With the PNG Games now over, new powerhouses have emerged in the sports of soccer, netball and hockey. Morobe Province as hosts had been expected to field a strong contingent packed with talent, and the dominance they displayed throughout the 13 days of competition was the result.
Morobe dominated the entire event, winning 64 gold, 50 silver medals and 42 bronze, and codes that had been expected to be won by other provincial powerhouses were also taken by the host side. Hockey was the first, both Morobe and Manus men's and women's teams in the gold playoffs. Manus, as expected, taking it in the women's, Morobe holding out at the end in the men's. Netball was another sport, led by Pepe's Nerisao. Morobe took the fight to a central side that had shown a lot of composure throughout the competition. In karate, golf was taken over by Morobe as the Lei Karate Club, in an act of selflessness, provided 15 fighters, impressing along the way. Support by packed audiences at the various venues was also highly obvious. Every pass, kick, throw, goal or try was received with raucous applause. West New Britain Governor Sasindra Muthavel received the official games flag from Morobe Governor Kelly Naru at the closing ceremony, and now has the mammoth task of matching not just the organization shown, but the level and quality of performances as well. Jeremy Moggy, National EMTV Sports.
After 7 years, Lei has successfully hosted the PNG Games for the second time. The BSP's 6th PNG Games, held in Lei, topped the previous games. Apart from sport, the PNG Games was an event that united people from all over the country with different cultures and traditions. Edwin Fidelis takes a look at the highlights of the final event that rounded off the 2-week event, the Games closing ceremony.
Although the 6th BSP PNG Games may have ended, the event itself will be remembered for a very long time. After 11 days of action across 28 sports, the event came to a close on Saturday. Representatives of the 22 provinces gathered for the last time at the St. Ignatius Kilage Stadium. Cyclists from the Morobe Bicycle Association and the Igam Barracks Military Band led the prelude to the closing ceremony. Then came Team West New Britain, the host province of the 2016 PNG Games, led the other 21 provinces into the arena. Every province bore their provincial flags and chanted their war cries. For the last 2 weeks, the PNG Games had been a colorful event. In front of the 1,000 athletes and spectators, the sports minister, Justin Chechenko, announced the formal send-off for athletes for the upcoming South Pacific Games next year.
We want to see you people there making sure that sports is taken to the next level and making our country very, very proud.
The Morobe Governor, in his final remarks, announced his gratitude for the successful completion of the Games.
We hope this game can contribute the bulk of your team that will represent our great nation to bring back a lot of medals.
A large applause came from the thousands of onlookers as the PNG Games flag was lowered and handed to the West New Britain Governor to mark the end of the Games. While much of the focus has been on the performance of provincial teams, the game itself is an event that brings together people from all over the country. People from different cultures, ethnicities and tribes bound together in the name of sports. And for the PNG Games, it will be one of those events that will continue to unite PNG as a country. Edwin Fidelis, National EMTV News, Lei.
And Trukai Sports continues after the break. Stay with us.
Trukai Sports.
Welcome back to Trukai Sports. The 2015 Pacific Games is also providing opportunities for business houses to market their products and services to the global market. There are a wide range of promotional opportunities, including publicity, venues, ticketing, merchandising, volunteer programs, the Games Relay and access to athletes. The Games Organizing Committee made this known during a sponsor activation workshop for the 2015 Pacific Games sponsors. Games Organizing Committee CEO Peter Stewart said it is ideal for sponsors to use the Games to deliver key messages and market their products. A business club will be created at the St. John Guy Stadium to allow business-to-business interaction for sponsors. Papua New Guinean elite athlete Donna Cornell has been awarded a scholarship by the International Association of Athletics Federation and will leave for Gold Coast this month to train. Papua New Guinea Athletics Union President Tony Green acknowledged the timely support as the nation prepares for the 2015 Pacific Games.
PNG rising star Donna Cornell will be based on the Gold Coast in Australia for 9 months. Cornell, a specialist in the 800 meters, 400 meters and 400 meters hurdles, has been awarded a scholarship leading up to the 2015 Pacific Games. Donna recently took part in the 6th BSB PNG Games in Lae, where she competed in the 800-meter race, clocking a time of 2 minutes 16 seconds in the finals. In the 400 meters flat, she ran 58.36 seconds, and in the 400 meters hurdles final, she clocked 1 minute 2 seconds. She came first in all her events. Cornell will be staying at the Oceania High Performance Training Center and will be coached by Glyn Snan Kearns, a former Australian Olympic heptathlete. She will be training along with fellow elite athlete Betty Burwa and Australians under-18 champion athlete Elena Tate and Australians 400-meter champion Alex Beck. Rafaela Kaure, National EMTV Sports.
One of the greatest players of all time and rugby league great, Darren Lockyer, has left some fond memories for remote island communities in the Namatanai district of New Island Province. Feni Islands, located in southeast of Namatanai, have recently come alive with the hosting of the Darren Lockyer Rugby League Cup and volleyball competition. Lockyer himself kicked off the one-day competition and said it will be an annual event. 4 teams played for the Darren Lockyer Trophy and the women played for the Mayur Plate in volleyball. Namatanai MP Byron Chan commended Lockyer and the management of Mayur Exploration for the initiative in engaging his people in such sporting events. Cricket Australia is still to make a decision on when this summer's Test series will get underway. The game remains in limbo, with players' attention still firmly on Philip Hughes' funeral, which takes place on Wednesday.
He has been front and centre throughout this tragedy, and today Captain Clark was there once again, flying into Maxwell to assist in the planning of his best mate's funeral in 2 days' time. Meanwhile, back in Sydney, the kit bag suggested teammates Brad Haddon and Shane Watson were trying to refocus on the game, as Cricket Australia was putting the final touches to a new plan for the Indian Test series.
A decision is expected very shortly, but it has been speculated the first test could begin in Adelaide from the 9th or 10th of December, with the postponed Brisbane test played after that and before the Boxing Day test, with the Sydney test being delayed by 3 days and beginning on the 6th of January.
I ask members to stand as a mark of respect for the passing of Philip Hughes.
In Canberra today, there was a minute's silence for the young cricketer before the Prime Minister offered a nation's condolence to his family and friends.
People are not supposed to die playing our national game. Philip Hughes' passing is a reminder that life is both precious and fragile. We mourn with his family, we grieve with his teammates.
And some of these teammates this morning emerged from their grief. Members of the South Australian Redbacks joining AFL players from Port Adelaide for a light training session.
Probably the first time it's ever happened, and obviously those guys are going through a pretty tough time.
The scene of Philip Hughes' last innings, the SCG, will play a part in his funeral. People are being invited to the ground to watch the service broadcast on the big screens.
And that wraps up Trukai Sports segment tonight. The weather details up next. I'll bring you those after these messages.
Trukai Sports. Trukai Sports.
Taking a look at the weather forecast for tonight and tomorrow in the southern region, Port Moresby, Alotau and Popondetta, you can expect fine weather. Shower or two for Daru and mostly fine for Kerama. To the Momase region, Lae, mostly fine, evening showers for Medang and Vanimo and showers for Wewak. To the New Guinea Islands, all centres, showers except Kavieng, you can expect showers and thunderstorms. And finally to the Highlands region, all centres, brief showers, then morning fog. And before we go, our top stories again. Police hunt for several men involved in early morning airport raid in Lae. Prime Minister Peter O'Neill calls for investor confidence following moves by MPs to opposition. And EMTV ends successful coverage of the PNG Games. And that has been National EMTV News. I'm Meribatulo. Good night.